One summer night, my roommate and I were both sitting on the couch of our living room talking and watching Supernatural. Two ladies in our early 20s, we felt safe with just the unlocked screen door closed a few feet from us as I sat facing the window to our backyard. Now, I will say this, we weren't completely naive. We had the back porch light on and lived in a townhouse facing a ravine. So, for anyone to get back there, they would have to walk past either 10 other houses on the left side or 5 other houses on the right. It wasn't the safest area around, as it housed mostly students from our nearby university, but hey, we knew all the drug dealers by name. They were our buddies. This is also why my roommate didn't freak out right away when I began yelling. She thought I was joking with a drunk friend. So the stage is set. Now to the creepy part. I was sitting facing the window, and my roommate faced me so her back was to it. I was the only person to have actually seen him. At first, I thought my mom was playing tricks on me. I had smoked a little pot earlier that evening. Just at the edge of the window, I could see the smiling face of a middle-aged man, but before I could register what I was seeing, the face backed up out of view. Not wanting to freak out my roommate, in case it was nothing, I went silent and got up to look out the back door that was to the left of the window. This freaked her out all the same, of course. And there I saw an image that has been burned into my brain to this day, 5 years later. An obese man wearing nothing but a Santa hat was walking up the 2 steps of my porch towards my unlocked screen door. I yelled at the top of my lungs something like, "Get the hell out of here, motherfucker, or I'm calling the police." The part that stuck with me is the fact that he just held up his hands in an appeasing gesture and kind of silently chuckled as he backed up, a big grin on his face the whole time. Like it was all some funny misunderstanding that he was a naked Santa in my backyard, about to come into my house. My roommate never saw him, which I'm glad for, but she was mad that I didn't tell her what I suspected was going on at the time. We called the cops, and 3 officers showed up and searched the area but found no one. The part that still freaks me out is how long he was standing out there listening to us. I don't really know if he would have tried to open the door, but the fact that he could have terrified me. I rationalize it now, thinking he just wanted a reaction, and I'm glad I gave him an angry one instead of a scared one. All the same, naked Santa Claus in my backyard? Let's not meet. This happened on Christmas Eve 2 years ago. My best friends and I were going to my friend's house to celebrate. My friend lives in what many would consider the boonies. After taking an exit off the interstate, you reach a small city, make a left turn, travel through a smaller town, then get onto a highway for a few miles before exiting onto a country road. This country road goes on for miles, roughly 30 minutes of driving, before you reach her house, which is at the end of this dead-end country road. Now, that I've given an idea of the setting, I'll explain what happened. I was riding in the passenger seat with my friend driving. 2 of my other friends were in the car in front of us. Everything was normal at first until we exited onto the highway I mentioned earlier. It was late and there weren't many cars out, but a truck was following us. I didn't think anything about it until the truck also got off the highway and followed us down that same country road. This road has many different turnoffs to other roads and residential areas before you reach the dead end. Additionally, it is deep in the woods and has no streetlights. This will be important later. So we drive further down the road, and I become uneasy because the truck still hasn't turned down a side street. I mentioned this to my friend, but she just said that they probably live further down the road. We keep driving, and the truck starts flashing their brights on and off at us and riding the back of our car unnecessarily close. We assumed this was to trick us into thinking something was wrong and pulling over, which we obviously didn't do. I started freaking out and called our friends in front of us to let them know. They basically brushed it off and said we were overreacting. I hope that was the case, but what happened next amped my fear and anxiety up to 100. I looked back and with a sigh of relief and told my friend the truck must have turned off a different road because the lights were gone. However, upon closer inspection in my side mirror, I could make out the silhouette of the truck. It was still behind us. They just turned their lights off completely. There is no logical reason why someone would do that on a dark, winding country road. At this point, I was honestly thinking we might die. I called my friends in front of us again and told them what the truck had did. We were deep in the woods at this point, and cell reception was abysmal. So I had to call them several times before they understood what I said. Luckily, my friend whose house we were going to exhibited some quick thinking and told us to follow her. When we rounded a corner, we made a sharp right turn down a long circle drive and shut off our lights. The truck didn't see us around the corner and kept driving down the road instead. We ended up waiting a few minutes and saw the truck come back the other direction before we felt safe enough to go to the house. Luckily, nothing more came of the situation. But creepy Christmas stalker? Let's not meet. I was a senior in high school. I had a girlfriend at the time who was going through some trouble and living with some friends in a technical college neighborhood of duplexes. The entire campus was a hotbed for various crimes at night, especially drug activity. It was poorly lit, and drug deals, thefts, and assaults would happen pretty regularly on the same street as my girlfriend's duplex. The campus police were always responding to multiple crimes across the sprawling campus. Rarely did I ever drive on the grounds without seeing a police car flying down the street at full code. I had avoided actually seeing anything on campus up until this particular night. I was visiting with my girlfriend a few days before Christmas break. I was a scrawny, intimidating 18-year-old, by the way. Her friends were out of the house doing something else, so we were enjoying the privacy. After some time, I realized that I had left something in my truck that I wanted to get. I left the house, already on guard, knowing full well what kinds of things happened in the area. The only light on the whole block was on the very end of the street. The orange glow of the high-pressure sodium light barely reached the yard of the house. I walked over to my truck, which was parked on the street. As I got closer, I realized there was a man standing in the yard of the house right across the road. I can barely see him, but the silhouette suggests that it is a tall, slender man. He is wearing black jeans and a black hoodie, which immediately puts me on guard. But this is a college campus, though. This guy might just be out enjoying a cigarette. So that was my rational answer for him being there. Well, as soon as I notice him, he begins whistling a tune. One I assume everyone knows. We wish you a Merry Christmas. It was slow. I felt the hairs on my neck stand up, but decided to continue to my truck. I put my key in the passenger side door, furthest from the whistling man. I lean over to grab the stuff from my truck. I look up and notice that he is now walking from the yard, crossing the street, and walking directly towards my truck. I stand up, shut the door, and immediately make a beeline for the house. I sprint with all of my might, and I hear footsteps behind me. With each footstep comes a whistle, frantic to match the pace he was walking. I get to the door, open it, and turn as I slam the door shut. In my action, I caught a glance of the whistler, a white man wearing a scarf covering the bottom half of his face. I lock the door and run to my girlfriend's room. I tell her what happened. At first, she didn't believe me, and then she heard it. The man was circling the house, whistling. We quickly covered the windows in her bedroom with blankets. The windows were awning style, the type that don't lock properly and can be pried open from the outside with ease. The man is still circling. We sat there, petrified, for what seemed like 10 minutes. Finally, we got enough sense to call the cops. They responded as fast as they could, but coming all the way across campus doesn't yield well to quick response times. They scared the guy away before they were anywhere nearby with the sirens. They searched for about 20 minutes, took a statement from each of us, and then left. After that, my girlfriend experienced many similar situations. None of them whistlers. I think it was the same guy, though. He picked us when he saw how freaked out we were and played the game for months afterwards. Never when I was there, though. So creepy whistling guy, let's not meet.